Hey everyone, I know you've been asking for this for a while, and today we are finally diving into it. As you can tell from the title, we are going to break down a tier list focused entirely on PvP. Since my gameplay is mostly centered around PvP, I didn't see much need for a PvE tier list. Let's be honest, all the classes can hold their own in the PvE activities Diablo Immortal offers. So let's kick things off by starting at the bottom of the list and talking about the monk. Sadly, the monk is more of a liability in PvP. There are simply better classes available for the same role. There's not even one strong build that lets you make a real impact in the game. That's why the monk is sitting comfortably in the rest in peace tier. If you're curious about some improvement ideas for the monk, like Shield of Zen, survival skills, iframes, damage and summons, check out the description for a link to that video. And before we move on to the next class, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can join in on our chats during my daily streams. Next up, we have the Crusader. This is one class that's lost a lot of its former glory ever since the beneficial effect removal was added to the Barbarian's Spartusk essence. The Crusader's main strength used to be the Conjuration of Light skill, but it's become way less effective after that change. Sure, some Crusader players are still doing well, but personally, I can't justify putting this class above C tier. Now, let's talk about another class that's joining the Crusader in the C tier, the Blood Knight, which by the way is the class I'm currently playing. Since the release of Tempest, the Blood Knight has slipped down the rankings because Tempest has a much stronger skill set and is easier to manage. Plus, they play the same role in PvP, so it's no surprise that the Blood Knight isn't as impactful. Personally, with the way I play the class, I'd rank it in B or even A tier, but not everyone plays it the same way. That's why I'm placing it in C tier, even though I've been hearing that people are doing pretty well with the build I'm using, even at low resonance. If you want to give the Blood Knight a shot and try out the build, you will find a link in the description, or you can join my live streams to see how it performs in real time. Next up, we've got the Necromancer. Now, the most frustrating thing about this class is that it's been using the same old Corpse Lance and Dark Curse build for months. Sure, there are other builds you can try, but they're not new either, so playing Necromancer can get pretty stale. Hopefully this will change with the new set of legendary items coming soon. Even though the build is old, it still performs well enough, especially for getting into the back lines and messing with demon hunters and wizards. That's why I'm placing the Necromancer in B tier. Now let's talk about the Wizard. This class is a great choice for low resonance players because its most effective build relies on those annoying area of effect control skills, which work well regardless of your resonance level. I said it's good for low resonance because wizards can be easily taken down even if they have high resonance, so it makes sense for lower resonance players to use this class. Anyway, the Wizard is really useful for countering barbarians and demon hunters since those control skills make it tough for those classes to navigate. The downside, the Wizard is super easy to kill. If the enemy team has even one Tempest or Blood Knight who knows what they are doing, that could be enough to take down the Wizard. That's why I'm keeping it in B tier, even though it's a perfect counter to barbarians. Moving up on the list, we have the Demon Hunter in the A tier. There's not much to say here, but let's go over it. Right now, a Demon Hunter with low resonance can take down a pretty strong whale using the Spinning Strafe build. Honestly, that build could probably use a bit of a nerf, but that's a topic for another video. The Demon Hunter has the best burst damage in the game, and that's what makes this class really strong. Some of you might argue that it should be in the S tier, and you could be right, especially since the Spin to Win build isn't the only way to play Demon Hunter. There's another build that involves Demon Hunter summons, which I personally find way more impactful. To be fair, there's only one thing holding this class back from the S tier. You can't push or hold the idol with it. You can help others, but you can't do it alone, which in my opinion is how it should be. Each class should have its own role. So let's say Demon Hunter is S tier as a damage dealer, but overall I think it belongs to the A tier, maybe even A+. Now we're getting into the best of the best as we hit the S tier. Let's start with the Barbarian. This class is the key to winning in battlegrounds because it's the only one that can really stay on the idol. In fact, you could say the Barbarian is the only true tank left in Diablo Immortal. As you can see, class roles play a big part in how I rank them in this tier list. You might think differently, and that's totally fine. But I think it's clear why the Barbarian belongs in the S tier. You need a tank on your team, and the Barbarian is that guy. Finally, let's talk about Tempest. It's surprising to see some people starting to think Tempest isn't as good as it was at release, especially after the nerfs. I don't really agree with that. Yes, Tempest got some major nerfs, but honestly they were a bit much in the first place. I think the main reason people are saying Tempest isn't as good now is simply because they are bored. Everyone jumped on this class when it was ridiculously overpowered, had their fun, and now they're tired of it. Sure, some players aren't performing as well because the nerfs made it a bit harder to play, but overall I still believe Tempest is the best class in Diablo Immortal for PvP. This class has everything: stuns, even area of effect stuns, plenty of dash skills, burst damage, and shields. What more could you ask for? It might sound unrelated, but Monk used to be my favorite class when the game first came out, and Tempest feels like an upgraded version of Monk. Even though Monk is in the rest in peace tier, its soul lives on in Tempest, making it the best class in the game. That's why I'm placing Tempest in the S tier. So that's my final tier list, as you can see on the screen. We might have different opinions, and that's okay. I try to rank these classes based on the overall experience of a casual player and their roles in the game. Let me know what you think of my list in the comments, and if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit that like button. You can also share your own tier list and we can discuss it as a community. Thanks for watching and take care.